My name is Julie, and I am a personal trainer and Group X instructor at the Middleman Jewish Community Center here in Portland. Today I'm just going to help you with some tips for trying to work from home. While we're all stuck there, there's a lot more people doing that these days. And I just wanted to give you some help with setting up your workstation and some stretches you can do to try to keep yourself feeling better. So I have this height adjustable chair here, which is helpful, but not everyone will have. But I'll show you to begin with what would be like a perfect almost setup. It's almost never really perfect, but what you want to have to begin with is to have your hips above your knees. So hip socket here, knee socket here. Sometimes you'll see they'll tell you a 90-degree angle, which would be like this. But it's really better if your hips are just a little above your knees, making a little bit larger than 90 degrees right here. Just helps you to have a little bit easier time with your good use than if you really go straight to 90. So this is a pretty comfortable height for me here. You want to make sure that when you're working, you have your feet fully on the floor with your heels connected and not up here or like this, or certainly none of this business. No. So, all right, here we go. Feet on the floor, a little bit greater than 90-degree angle in the hips so that your hip socket's above your knees and your knees aligned over your toes. That's going to be super perfect. Now, getting to that computer. If you work with a laptop, you're doomed. There's no way to do it perfectly. But that is because you want to have your keyboard, ideally, your keyboard is low enough that your arm can hang straight down from its socket at the shoulder, and your elbow can be right under that shoulder. Your arm should be, again, just a little more than 90-degree angle here so that your hands can come down to your keyboard like this. That is the most comfortable way to be. So if you have a little drop down desk pull out sort of thing, that's where you want to be. You don't want to be up here. You'll often read 90 degrees. 90 degrees is doable. But it's much more comfortable to go a little bit larger here. So if you can do it, go a little more than 90 degrees so you're down there. Now if you have a separate monitor from your keyboard, which would be down here, ideally, you would want your monitor to be at eye level when you look straight ahead. So for me, that's like right here on this flower in front of me. Now, clearly I have a laptop. I cannot reach and I cannot look up there. So I have a couple of options, and if you can't get a perfect setup for yourself, adjustability. Find what you have at home. These are gardening knee pads. They're fully dirty from the garden and lots of carrying around, but they're lightweight, and I have a handful of them. Books work, the complete works of Shakespeare, a large Bible, an old dictionary, lots of small books piled. A big book is easier generally to deal with, but then if sometimes I will strap these together. If you have any Velcro, I use tomato twine to wrap these guys and stick them once I have the right width. So I'm going to use these because look, this is too high, right? So even with my chair up nice and tall, it is height adjustable, but I'm still a little low. So if I pull this guy up here, now I've got my 90 degrees. It's not as comfortable as it would be if my keyboard was here, but this is totally doable. And I'm going to sit close enough so that my arms can just hang down and I'm here on my home keys comfortably. Now, but I'm looking down, so that's an issue, right? There is not too much you can do to change that. Ideally, I would be like this, and that keeps my head balanced on top of my spine. So you want to have your spine nice and long. I'm sitting on my sits bones. That's the two bones. You'll feel them in your butt. If you reach under here, you can actually feel those bones. If you're rolled back, what you'll feel is your tailbone in the middle. Don't want to sit on that guy. All right, you want to be on those two sits bones. So what I tell people, rock a little forward and back, like engaging your core here a little, thinking of your head leading and your spine just dangling from, it starts at the top of your spine, is kind of behind your eyes and between your ears. And I'm thinking of that spine nice and long all the way down to my tailbone. I'm rocking over my hips. Now I'm back on my tailbone Here I'm rolling over those sits bones, and now my weight has shifted onto my feet. I'm in front of those sits bones. So if I make this smaller and smaller, and I just find I'm behind my sits bones, and now I'm in front of my sits bones, and I'm just going to get smaller and smaller with my rocking until I find where right on top of my sits bones is. So my spine is nice and stacked, and I don't want to let my head fall forward and down. Okay? Yeah, that feels terrible, but that's what we tend to do, collapsing into our computers like this. So you want to get nice and tall. You want to have your head balanced on top of your spine. It's like a little helmet on there. So the back of my head starts here, and but my spine goes all the way up to between my ears. So I'm thinking of keeping my spine where it is and rotating really like a ball. So it can also rotate this way like a ball. So if I imagine a little bar between my ears here, as though I'm like a horse on a merry-go-round, I've got a little bar here. I can look up and I can look down. I don't want to just drop off. You'll see it from the side. I don't want to drop off like this, pulling and creating this kind of a thing in the back of my neck. What I want is to be nice and tall and to be able to rotate down and rotate up and over like that, so that when I do look down, my spine is at least still up and my head is still basically on it, even as I'm looking down. And I'm letting my eyes look down. They have a big eye socket. So remember your eyeball socket. We have a tendency to forget. I have, especially if we wear glasses, the clearest spot is going to be if you're straight in the middle of your glasses, or if you have bifocals, you'll be wanting to look down or up, depending on what you're trying to see. So just remember to use the full range of motion of your eyeball socket. So eyes can get tired if you do that too much. Make it gentle and easy, but make sure you're using your eyes. So looking down with my eyes to see my computer, as opposed to looking straight ahead and then dropping my whole head down to look down. Hope that makes sense to you guys. But, so here I am, up. I'm gonna nod a little bit, but staying on top of my spine. I'm not falling off. I can check that by holding my head back here to make sure that it feels rotational and not falling away from where my hand is. So then I'm going to just check my shoulders, that they're nice and long, and here I am. Looking out, but I'm looking down. So you might want to do this for a while until you start to feel tired. Then you're like, oh, I'm so tired of sitting in this spot. So something you could do, dependent on your work, is you could raise this. So I have some other little items here. This is just what happens to be in my house and nearby. I'm going to grab a box of tissue. But anything could work, right? Lift this up a little bit. And now I'm set. If I'm not using my keyboard a lot, my trackpad, I could watch a video from here. I could be in a chat. And it gives me a higher place to look from. And if I don't need the keyboard at all, you know, I could even stack it on something way up here so that I could sit here more comfortably. So the trick to all of this is recognizing there is no perfect configuration. There's no perfect chair. There's no need for the perfect thing. Look around in your house and find the little things that you could use. Let's see, I have here because I'm in the kitchen. Here's another thing that I could use, right? So look for creative ways to play. So this chair that I'm using here, by the way, is not my dining chair, obviously. I've pulled this from a desk, but I've set up at my dining chair. Make sure that the chair you have doesn't sink. Put a hard book in it, even if you have the right height for your chair, and you don't need to raise yourself up, because if you're sinking into your chair, that won't help either. It'll tend to roll you back onto your tailbone. So now you have some ideas of what you want to do to arrange your workspace. Alternate workspaces. That's the next thing I wanted to talk about. So you can lay in your bed for a little bit and work on that laptop. Prop your pillows up behind you so that your spine stays nice and long. Try not to let it be a C shape and use a lot of pillows. Put a pillow under your knee so you're reclined and so that your knees are bent, and then you can work there for a little while, you know, switch it up. Then maybe go sit at the sofa for a little while, if your sofa's not too terrible, and then come back here. So moving around, because you'll tax different parts of your body. If you try to sit in the same place forever, it will wear on the same parts of your spine and the same body parts. So just shifting where you're working will help, as well as taking breaks. So I'm gonna actually call that good for this video. I'm gonna do a part 2 with some desk stretches and some mobility exercises that will just help you if you do those, say, once every hour. I would suggest about once an hour, doing something to get yourself moving. All right, well, thanks for watching the video. I hope it's helpful, and I hope you're enjoying your time at your home office. Thanks, bye-bye.